Hi, thank you for joining me. Today I'd like to cover a few tools that you use when creating your artwork. These will be inexpensive tools that you can use and may be substitutes for some of the expensive ones. This is just a plain sheet of paper, which will come in handy for protecting your working surface when you're placing glue on the backs of objects. Also, you can use this for making patterns. You generally need something to cut with. The scissors or the X-Acto knife will give you more precision, and the difference in these are the scissors allow you to make cuts that are more shapely, I will say. So if you need to cut out a circle or curve, the scissors will afford you that opportunity. However, the X-Acto knife offers a nice clean cut. Generally, that means my blade is dull. It offers a clean cut in one swoop. When you do these cuts with the X-Acto knife, you don't have a jagged edge that you normally would have. You can see that there's a little jagged edge in here when you use the scissors. To avoid these jagged edges or to minimize them, you would want to cut slowly with more of a one motion kind of thing, turning your paper and your scissors, and that will give you a smoother cut. Another thing that you can do, so that's for your blades, let me cap that up. You would want to use a metal ruler. These have the cork on the bottom that helps prevent it from slipping, although I don't have much success with that. But using a metal ruler when cutting with the X-Acto knife keeps you from cutting into the edge of your ruler and throwing it off later. You can cut into the edge of the plastic rulers and it will mess up your straight edge. This can also be used to cut your papers. There's a special tool for that, but if you place the metal edge flat on the surface of your paper and hold it down at the beginning and on either side of the paper, grab the edge of the paper and pull it towards this left hand or right hand, whichever one you're oriented to, and at an angle pull across the paper, paper across the edge, and it'll give you a nice cut. So that's the other thing that the metal ruler can be used for. I would not trust using a plastic ruler for that. Now, I'm going to place the piece of paper here so that you can see it a little bit better. This is a pencil, which I recommend using pencils for your measurements instead of ink pens. This, however, gives you a wide line. You can also use some of the more expensive mechanical pencils that give you this is a hard pencil also. So this pencil this is a hard lead in here, but it gives you a thinner line. And then of course you have the really inexpensive mechanical pencils that you can purchase, several in a pack, and it will also give you a thin line. Unfortunately, me and these mechanical pencils never tend to work out so well. I'll use that lead just like that. So it needs more lead in it, but it gives you a nice thin line, which is really what you want. You want either of these two lines. This is great for drawing, but not for mark making when you're trying to integrate a mark with something else. And then you can easily erase those. Now, one thing you can do, which is another tool to sharpen this, is to use, this is a block. It comes with a lot of the drawing kits, and it's just sandpaper. And when this paper gets, you just lay the pencil flat. I thought that was kind of old, so I was going to change it, but it works just well. You lay the pencil flat and turn it. It'll give you a much thinner, I'll put it on this side. It will give you a much thinner line. One thing now about this sandpaper, it will take off the wood of the pencil also. Now once this is quite used, you just rip this piece off because it's stapled on both ends. Now if you don't want to purchase that, then get a, you can go get a pack of sandpaper and they will work just as well. So I wanted you to see this. This is a 150 and it will work just as well. It looks like a 150. It's not super fine, but it's not really rough either. So if you don't want to purchase this block, just purchase some sandpaper, and you can get that sandpaper in a pack. Now this tool is used for crafters, use it, and it's also used in printmaking. As you can see, it's kind of used. So this is used for folding paper. Well, to help you fold, make nice crisp folds on paper. So you would fold the paper and you would use the bone folder outward. And it gives you a nice crisp fold. It's great for when you're making cards or bookmaking. It gives you a nice crisp fold. Using your hands is one thing, but you may have, you can see, you may have some type of residue on there, and it will tend to transfer onto your work, and that is not what you want to happen. You can also use one of the tools for pottery or ceramics. It's wood, comes to a point on the end, and it can be used also. Or you can use the back of a wooden spoon. The other tip I want to give you is when you are gluing, or when you're gluing paper or fabric or something to another surface, use a brayer. There's several brayers. This is a rubber brayer, and it's used for printmaking. And you must protect this surface, because if this surface gets ruined, it does not work as well as a nice flat surface. But these brayers, this is an acrylic brayer, which was used for a paint demo. So this is an acrylic brayer, and it's hard and flat. And this is a wooden brayer, which it has two sides. This side is sort of bevel, and this side is flat. But these I use for different crafts or printmaking, and it's actually used for baking. So this is a baking tool, a tool to roll out, I guess, pasta or dough. But it can also be used. So you're not limited to purchasing just art tools or tools that are labeled as art tools because they make it rather expensive. And these substitutes work very well. Now this is a mat and placemat, I should say. And I'm not zooming out and in because to me that's somewhat distracting, so I'm staying a little close. But this is a placemat, and what you can do is cut this down. One will make several. You cut it down, and you'll have to lose a few of these straw ends, which is fine. Then just knot these down, and it will keep this from unraveling. You can do it at both edges if that's where you're cutting at. But this was the end, and so I didn't need to tie that end down. Now what this does, because these are sticks and it serves a great purpose, and what you would do is cut that, and then you can use this to protect your paint brushes or your tools. Then you would roll this and it will protect your tools. Now you can rubber band this on both ends or in the middle to keep this together, or you can take a piece of ribbon and glue gun it on there and then tie it on. And that's how you protect your paint brushes or your tools. Very inexpensive, holds up very well, travels very well, and you can make it in any size that you need. Or you can purchase one of these from the store, which it has a piece of foam sponge in that end, and you can cover excuse me, your brushes or tools to travel with to keep them from damaging the tips of your tools. So thank you for joining me. Until next time.